Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel, Ulezi the Advocate, and I'm Dr. Nasiah Ciirincione-Ulezi. Today, we have a very special guest, Miss Shelli Badger. She is speech language pathologist extraordinaire. I have known this lady for more than a decade, and she has been a practicing professional speech language pathologist for more than 30 years. So we are very, very blessed to have her with us today to share her gems and knowledge. So do you want to say hello to everyone, Ms. Badger?
Hello, thanks for joining us.
Yes. And thank you so much for being here. I have a couple questions for you while we have you here. Actually, it's one question with two different parts. Now, I have been in the field almost as long as you have, Miss Badger, and I've heard a couple new phrases, and I'm not sure exactly where they fit or what function they serve or how appropriate these phrases are. And I hear them in terms of parents using them to correct and redirect their children away from challenging behaviors. They are the terms, "no thank you," and the term, "I don't think so." Now, I know 20 years ago, I would use those phrases often, but certainly not to correct children or redirect away from challenging behaviors. So can you shed a little bit of light on how appropriate those terms are in terms of teaching more appropriate behaviors for young children?
Interesting question, Nasiah. I've heard this term used over the last, I don't know, maybe 5 or so years, and it's becoming more and more prevalent. I hear it being used with special education children, typical developing children, children on the spectrum. And it just amazes me because I always like to look at the behavior of the child when the parent uses these phrases, just to kind of observe, like, okay, this "no thank you," what is he going to do with that? Does he understand that? And by and large, the child still wants to go and push the door open with his parent nearby.
Yes.
I don't see any miraculous changes in a child's behavior with those terms whatsoever.
Okay.
What I do know is in my practice and in the classrooms, in the preschool classrooms that I service, I try to encourage people to not use those phrases for redirection, for self-regulation, for all the challenging behaviors that you just mentioned, you know, disruptive behaviors, discipline, those kinds of things, you know, and for parents, a lot of times it's about discipline and things of that nature. But what I would say is, no thank you, no thank you. Think of the context of no thank you. When do you hear that mostly? When someone's like offering you something and you are declining it? That's what it means to me. And when I think of, I don't think so. And even the tone in which you use it in the context is very odd for a child. I don't think so. I mean, you're trying to say it stern, at least, maybe, to let them know that I want you to stop this.
Yes.
When I think of "I don't think so," I think about somebody asking me, "Do you think it's going to rain today?" And I say, "Oh, I don't think so." So it doesn't even make sense. It's very vague, it's very empty, and certainly something a young child that needs to learn language needs to be latching on to. So my advice to replace those kinds of empty phrases, those kinds of phrases that don't give children any advantages for following directions, for learning vocabulary, for just controlling and understanding what you want them to do. So in the case of, you know, the child, the example that I gave where the child was going toward the door and pushing on the door and the mom says, no, thank you. And she should have said, put your hands down. Don't touch the door. Move back. Come here. Something to match the action of the child rather than no thank you, which doesn't tell the child that it's not safe to go outside, that they shouldn't push. There's words and vocabulary and all those kinds of instructions. I hear that a lot, you know, for the parent who's annoyed by the child picking their nose. Even, you know, that's always an embarrassing moment for those parents, even though
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
years old, that's what they do. But at the same time, you can't say to them, I don't think so. I mean, come on. That doesn't tell them, oh, don't pick your nose. Take your finger out of your nose. Here's a tissue. You're giving them language. You're giving them the understanding of the materials that they need to use around the action that they need to do. So the more that we can use words that are meaningful to kids, that aren't vague, that don't leave them wondering like, what do they mean by that? The better they're going to follow our directions. And that's what we want them to be able to do. We want to develop their skills at understanding spatial relations, of understanding textures, to be able to describe things. And those words are just too empty. And children are not going to develop the kind of vocabulary and language development that they need to, as long as parents do those kinds of language use in disciplining and redirecting.
Miss Badger, you have just dropped some gems on us. Thank you. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
I appreciate it. And I know that there are going to be parents and professionals who may want to contact you for a consultation. So with your permission, I would like to link your email down below. Is that okay?
Oh, that's fine.
Okay. Thank you. We look forward to you joining us again. And at this time, what I'm going to do is wish everyone peace and blessings. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.